Cern Basher acceded to my demand, I mean, to my request to come on and talk about his version of what just happened with the Elon Musk pay package, because I saw on X that he had done an okay job of taking it apart. Also, weren't you also on some other program, something about, I don't know, bulls or something?
Cyber Bears, maybe? No,
Some
Cyber
bears,
Bulls.
yeah, Cyber Bulls, yeah. And I listened to a part of that, and you seemed lucid. Oh no, we can't use that word anymore.
No.
Anyway, all right. So you and I both have limited time today. So without a lot of dancing around, what did you think? What is your theory? And what can you hopefully tell us that will illuminate us about the Elon Musk pay package?
Let's cut to the chase, shall we?
Okay.
Yeah. In short, I think this is the best executive compensation plan the world has ever seen,
The best. Okay.
bar none.
Certainly the largest.
Yes. Elon gets nothing if the goals are not achieved,
That's a lovely thing.
right? And there's no other CEO in the world that probably would sign up for this, and I'll show you the reason why in a minute.
Okay.
Um, and if he achieves these goals, then everybody's better off. Tesla shareholders, the U.S. taxpayer to the tune of probably $1 trillion,
Wow.
and I'll show the math behind that,
Okay.
and then probably humanity at large.
Okay.
The only group of people that are not better off by this is California taxpayers. By ch
California.
by chasing Elon out of their state, they are missing out on a lot of money.
I thought you were going to include the short sellers in that list.
Well, yeah, I'm not too worried about them. It's a small group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this Tesla proxy statement is a very interesting document. By the way, there's now a votetesla.com, I
Oh,
believe is the website address.
okay.
Yes, votetesla.com is a good website if you want to learn more about the proposals without reading a 336 page or whatever it is proxy statement.
Right, right.
Information about the two proposals that they deem critical. Proposal 3, which is the amended and restated 2019 Equity Incentive Plan,
Oh, yes.
which creates a special share reserve of nearly 208 million shares to make Elon whole on his 2018 plan should the uh, Delaware court not drop or, sorry, I'm at a loss for the word, but if they overturn the ruling, I guess, if they don't overturn the ruling
Right,
and that ruling stands, then the company has a plan B to make Elon whole.
right.
They're also topping off the share amounts, stock options for employees to the tune of 60 million shares, put that back in the bank,
Okay.
and they'll have a total of about 70 million to deploy over time.
Okay.
Okay, so this is an important part of the plan as well,
Sure.
kind of plan B. And then, of course, the proposal 4, which is the 2025 CEO Performance Award, which is what we're going to focus on today.
Right.
Okay. All right. This is a nice little summary from the proxy document. And Elon now has had 3 of these awards. So the first one was in 2012. 100% of his compensation was at risk. The market cap of the company at the time of the award was 3.2 billion. Don't many of us wish we could go back in time and buy some shares at those prices?
Yeah.
Each tranche was half of 1% of the shares outstanding, and the market cap increment per tranche was 4 billion, and there were 10 tranches, and the minimum total shareholder value created at final capitalization milestone was 40 billion. So that was a pretty big leap from 3.2 billion to 40.
Right.
And then along came the 2018 Performance Award, and everybody thought this was crazy,
Yeah.
right?
Everybody, literally
And,
everybody.
and it became the most shorted stock, I think, after this.
Oh, wow.
But at the time, it was a $53.5 billion company, and there were 12 tranches and 1% of the shares awarded per tranche. And the increment was 50 billion for each tranche, as well as some other things like EBITDA and revenue targets. Um, and he had to create 600 billion in shareholder value in order to receive the final milestone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. He was given, I think, 10 years to do it. He did it in 5.
Right.
Right? Phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, as amazing as that was, along comes the third one, the 2025 award. The market cap of the company now stands at 1 trillion. Again, 1% of the shares per tranche. So there's 12 tranches, so very similar.
Mhm.
The increment this time is 10x. Instead of 50 billion, it's 500 billion. Except for the last two, they're $1 trillion increments.
Oh, I see. Okay. I
Okay,
missed.
so we're not messing around this time. We're going to step it up for the last two.
Right.
And then we'll talk about this in terms of the milestones. It's a combination of the market cap and some operational milestones. And basically, the minimum value he needs to create in order to get the final one is 7.5 trillion. So, phenomenal.
Right.
Absolutely phenomenal.
So a 7.5x or 8.5x from here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, let's go back for a second and look at why no other CEO on the planet would go for this award. Okay.
Yep.
Why this is so unique. So what Tesla did, this is from the board of directors. This is in the proxy. It's quite some pages down. It's kind of hard to find, but it's in there. They did an analysis. They hired a firm to do an analysis of the 2018 CEO award.
Hmm.
And they created a group of companies that kind of fit the construct. There was 113 companies that fit greater than 50 billion market cap, et cetera, and some other things. And they applied the same methodology of Elon's 2018 compensation plan to those other companies to see, did any other companies if they had these plans, would their CEOs have been successful?
Right.
Right. And the incredible thing was that 79% of the companies would have failed to achieve even one of the tranches of the 12 tranches.
Even one.
Even one. Okay. On average, 0.3 of the hurdles were achieved.
0.3.
Okay. 13% of the companies achieved a single tranche.
Okay.
7% achieved 2 tranches.
Okay.
That's 8 companies.
Right.
And the only one that's a standout is NVIDIA, and NVIDIA would have achieved 3 of the tranches.
3 of the 12, 10. 3 of the
3 of the 12.
12. 3 of the 12.
So no other CEO is going to put their compensation at risk like Elon does. And if they did, back in 2018, they wouldn't have done so well.
So then this would also allow us to go back and look at those videos of the CNBC hosts talking, and all the people, all the guests they had on, saying this is impossible, he'll never make it. And we can have some sympathy then. We can say, guess what? You might have been right to think so.
You were right about everybody else.
Yeah, right.
But not Elon.
Yes.
So again, I think this gives amazing perspective in terms of how incredible that plan was, how difficult it was, because no other CEO on the planet would have achieved it.
Right.
Right. I mean, it's this is a real nugget, I think, in the proxy statement.
It is. It is.
Right. And I'm sorry, here's the chart up close. Right. And here's Tesla out here. One company achieved the 12 tranches. Only NVIDIA achieved 3. 8 achieved 2. 15 achieved 1. And, the
vast majority, nothing.
The vast majority didn't get any.
Wow.
Okay. All right. So now we have this proxy. There's a number of things. Tesla proposals, there's 6 of them. Some matter more than others. There's one, for example, a non-binding advisory vote regarding executive compensation. It's not as critical as proposals 3 and 4. Okay, and then of course appointing the auditors, and so on, and then a proposal here to eliminate the supermajority voting requirement. To go down to 51 instead of 66 and 2/3. The board is they say none here. They're sort of abstaining from a recommendation that was brought to the company by shareholders. I think 64% of the people voted for this idea, and now they're bringing it to the shareholders for a vote. Okay. And then there's a number of shareholder proposals. One of them, I think it's the most interesting, is number 7, which is the XAI investment.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't require the company to invest in XAI. It just asks the board to look into it. So
Mhm.
it's maybe not as strong as it could have been, but nonetheless, it's a step. We'll talk about that at the very end.
Okay.
And then there's some other shareholder proposals that we won't spend any time on here today. This one, by the way, this proposal 6, I think negates, if I recall correctly, number 10 and 11. It would make them irrelevant if 6 was approved.
I see.
So anyway, okay. Here's a snapshot of the 2025 CEO Performance Award.
Hmm.
And the thing to recognize here is we're talking about restricted stock, not stock options.
Right.
It's actually what's called performance conditioned restricted stock. So a lot of people are making the mistake of calling these stock options.
Mhm.
They're not.
Mhm.
Now, they're structured in many ways to behave like stock options,
Mhm.
but they're not stock options because what happens is as Elon has hit one of these requirements to hit a tranche, to get a tranche, he gains voting control
Of that percentage. Yeah.
of that tranche, yes. And since that's one of Elon's main objectives is to increase his voting control, this is a way of getting that to him
Mhm.
in advance of him even paying for the options or
Right.
the stock.
Right.
See, I'm making that same mistake
Yep. Yep.
myself.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Okay. So the company right now, about 1.1 trillion, they would have to essentially double in size in order for the first tranche to be achieved. Now, there are some operational guidelines as well. We'll get into those in a minute. We're just looking at the market cap part of this.
Mhm.
And then it goes up by 500 billion stepwise until you get to the last two. And there's a $1 trillion increase in order to get the last two.
Right.
And by that point, if he gets to the market cap to 8.5 billion and meets all the
Oh,
operational
trillion.
or
8.5 trillion.
trillion, thank you. 8.5 trillion and meets all the operational targets, he would receive 424 million restricted shares.
Okay.
Okay. All right. This is a table from the proxy, and it shows essentially if Elon is able to earn all these different tranches, what his potential ownership in the company could be,
Mhm.
assuming he is able to find a way to retain all those shares. And we'll get into the nuance of that in a second, but that's actually going to be a pretty big deal.
Hmm.
The amount of money that Elon may have to borrow in order
I
to
see.
pay taxes is absolutely astounding.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So we'll get into that detail in a second. That I think is very interesting. But potentially he could take his ownership up to about 29%,
Okay.
potentially. Now they show some other things here if they exclude the 2018 CEO Performance Award, but the board has essentially neutralized the Delaware court, in my opinion. If the court rescinds the order, then this stands. If the court keeps the order, then they have Plan B, that special share reserve to make Elon whole.
Right.
So for my money, I would look at this last column here.
So then I'm looking at just under 30% in the Plan B version, and 30% of 8.5. I did good in math. That would be more like 2.5 trillion dollars worth of net worth of his value in Tesla.
It's a big number, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. He would have potentially, I think, 1.1 billion shares.
1.1 billion shares. Okay.
Yeah. If he was able to keep them all. Now, that's a stretch. And we'll get
Right.
into the reasons
Right.
why in a second.
Right. Now
Okay.
that's also assuming that you only get to the $8.5 billion valuation. Uh,
Correct.
you, among others, I think, have suggested that even under this analysis, even under the method that they've come up with, he's more likely to be at the value of the company is more likely to be at 17 billion, which would put him at double this number.
Now you're making the same mistake I was. 17
Uh-oh.
trillion.
17 trillion. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. Uh, just for those that are watching, when we say billion, we probably mean trillion. So yeah, the numbers are so large. Yeah, we'll get into this in a second. I think the company, once they meet the operational guidelines, the last one,
Yeah.
well, we'll get into it right here.
All right.
If we hit this last one of 400 billion adjusted EBITDA, I think the company at that point could be worth between 16 and 20 trillion,
Right.
not 8.5. And we'll discuss that in a second. But so in addition to the market cap guidelines, there are what they call operational milestones. And there's two parts of this. There's product goals and then the EBITDA milestones.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, EBITDA is just really another way of looking at the profitability of the company.
Right.
Okay. Um, but the product goals, these are very interesting. We've got 20 million Tesla vehicles delivered, and we'll get into the details of this in just a second.
Right.
And then another one is 10 million active FSD subscriptions, 1 million bots delivered,
Hmm.
and 1 million robotaxis in commercial operation.
Right.
These are product goals. And in my book, the way I think about these is just kind of milestones along the way.
Hmm.
If we get 1 million bots delivered, then we're on our way to 10 million and eventually 100 million and
Right.
a
Right.
billion and so on. So this is just kind of early days here.
Yeah.
Now, the ones that really matter, I think, for shareholders is, these are great. These are interesting, and it kind of tells us maybe where the focus of the company is, and that's really helpful.
Hmm. Hmm.
But at the end of the day, we want the company to make money.
Right.
And if something else comes along that's not on this list that makes sense for Tesla to do, we would love them to do that.
Right.
Right. And of course, this plan, I suppose, could be changed by the board if necessary. But the profitability guidelines here from 50 billion up to 400 billion of adjusted EBITDA. By the way, the company over the last 12 months has produced about 11 billion
Yeah.
of EBITDA.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty healthy increase in
Yeah.
profitability.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about these product goals in a bit more detail. In the proxy, they talk about.
I think it's worth saying before we go too much further that my reporting or my reporting, my view of others' reporting is that Elon came before the board on 10 or 12 occasions and mixed it up with the board on this package. So
Yeah.
Elon was well aware of the things that were being considered and apparently would have been signing off on these things along the way.
I doubt that there's anything in there that he hasn't,
Right.
quote unquote, blessed in some way
Right.
or said he's okay with.
Mhm.
So what does 20 million Tesla vehicles delivered mean? Right. It means any vehicle manufactured by Tesla or on behalf of the company. That's interesting.
Hmm.
So if somebody else is making Tesla vehicles, interesting.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
Model S,
Yeah.
3, X, Y, Cybertruck, Cybercab, Semi, or any other new vehicle, including variants of existing vehicles.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. It's understood that the bots shall not be considered a vehicle.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
And delivery. What does that mean? Tesla vehicle is placed into, so they sell it to a third party. If you and I buy a vehicle,
Mhm.
obviously,
Mhm.
but if they place it into commercial operation for the first time by the company as a robotaxi,
Mhm.
so adding robotaxis, building robotaxis and putting it in their fleet counts for this as well.
Okay. All right. That's interesting.
Okay. Um, and so on. So, and then 10 million active FSD subscriptions must be 10 million subscriptions over a consecutive 3-month period. Okay.
Okay.
Interesting thing here, there's nothing about pricing. I mean, I guess they could knock FSD down to $1
Right.
a month, and that would meet this. I don't think Elon's going to do that, but I mean, this seems like a big number, but it could be easily achievable over time.
Right.
By the way, back to this 20 million Tesla vehicles, the company has delivered, I think, just over 8 million
So far.
cumulative so far.
Yeah.
So you could look at it over the next 10 years, the incremental 12 million, it's like 1 million extra vehicles a year. But this isn't necessarily meant to be a target that's achieved 10 years from now,
No. No.
right? And again, I'll show you in a second, when you look at this, this doesn't have to be the first one that's achieved. It could be any one of the others,
Yeah.
including the profitability milestones.
Okay.
Okay. All right. 1 million bots delivered. That's pretty clear. A bot is a bot is a bot.
Okay.
They also talk about the manufactured by or on behalf of the company,
Hmm.
including Optimus or any other successor, replacement, or enhancement. Okay. Or any other product using artificial intelligence. It's
Huh.
understood vehicles shall not be considered bots.
Huh.
But they're giving a nod to something else
Yeah.
potentially,
Yeah.
right?
Drones or
Yeah.
tractors or yeah,
Yeah.
trucks. No, I guess trucks wouldn't because they'd be like a car, right?
Yeah. They don't mention trucks in here. They don't mention semi. Um, and then robotaxi vehicle, including cybercab, regardless of the marketing name used, that uses FSD and is used to offer transportation services without a human driver in the vehicle. So that does not include safety drivers, I don't believe, safety
Yeah.
monitors.
So,
Okay.
so help me out on that one. If Tesla puts it in their fleet, then it doesn't count. But if they sell it to somebody else who puts it in their fleet, it does count.
I think that does count for the robotaxi, yes.
Even if it's Tesla's own fleet.
Yes, operated by
Oh,
Tesla or on
okay.
behalf of the
All
company.
right. Well, that makes that a lot easier.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so here's how this works. You take one of these market cap milestones. So let's say the stock crosses 2 trillion.
Right.
In order for Elon to get his first tranche of 1% of the stock,
Huh?
he would have to reach one of these other operational
Just
milestones.
one of them. I see.
One of them. Okay, so let's say the easiest one is 1 million robotaxis in operation.
Yeah.
So you could pair that one with the 2 trillion and
Uh-huh.
get his first 1%.
Got it.
Okay. Stock goes to 2.5 trillion. He's going to have to meet one of these other milestones.
Got it.
Okay. It might be 50 billion of adjusted EBITDA. It might be, who knows?
Yeah, and some of those you almost have to have the EBITDA milestones in order
Yeah.
to get to that market cap. So
Right. This ultimately becomes critical. This, I think, is interesting, but less important overall. It's what is the company doing to
right,
drive
right.
future profitability?
Yeah, my first impression when I heard you guys on Bulls yesterday was the most important thing in this entire thing is that last 400 billion. That's the most important number on
Yeah.
the entire thing.
Yeah. And then just to give you a sense of the compound annual growth rates that would be
Oh,
required to hit these
okay.
targets,
Okay.
right? Is for simplicity, let's just focus on this last 8.5 trillion number.
Yeah.
If Elon was to do this over 5 years, like he did with the last plan, that would mean a 52.7% annual increase in Tesla stock
Yeah.
over a 5 year period. Or if it's a 10-year growth, 23.6% per year.
Got it. Okay.
And by the way, this plan lasts for 10 years.
Right.
If he doesn't meet these objectives in 10 years, it goes away.
Right.
So the 10-year clock is started.
Well, after November 6th.
Yeah. Although, yeah, it may be effective though September 3rd. I'm not sure when it really
Oh, I see.
starts because
Oh, okay.
the price of the plan was set on the stock price of
Okay.
$334.09
Okay.
on that date.
Okay.
And that becomes important. I'll show you why in a minute. And then here's the EBITDA growth. If you were to get to the 400 billion
Mm-hmm.
over 5 years, that would be a 92% increase in profitability per year.
Per year. Yeah.
Yeah. And if it's over 10 years, it's 38.4%.
And
So
obviously, the reason that's going up so much faster than the stock price in terms of percentage is because they're assuming the PE goes down.
correct. And this chart shows that. I put this together for that very reason to sort
Oh,
of
okay.
show that.
All right.
Once again, Randy,
I
you're always one chart ahead of me.
I try.
Yeah, amazing, amazing ability. So Tesla currently, EBITDA over the last 12 months of 11 billion. To get to the 400 is a 36x increase.
Yeah.
The market cap when I did this was just under 1.1 trillion. And to get to 8.5 trillion, it's 8x increase.
Right.
The current market cap to EBITDA is like 99. And for this, they're assuming it would be 21.3.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. So to your point, this
Yep.
assumes that this PE essentially, so this is not really PE, but
Yeah.
we'll just shortcut it as a PE ratio for now. PE would only be 21.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, it's interesting how they came up with this because they mentioned a peer group of Meta, Microsoft, and Alphabet. And interestingly, the last 12 months EBITDA for those three companies is about 400 billion. and the combined market cap is about 8.5 trillion. And the valuation there is about 21, 22,
That's amazing.
right? Now, I thought they should probably also include Apple, Nvidia, and Amazon.
Hmm.
And if you take all six of these combined, you get to EBITDA over the last 12 months of about 764 billion.
Hmm.
Okay, so almost twice the goal. And the combined market cap is about 18.7 trillion. And the valuation collectively, the group would be about 24, 25 times earnings.
So still in the ballpark.
Yeah. Now, look at this, though. Here's NVIDIA. It's got about 100 billion in EBITDA over the last 12 months.
Hmm.
It's trading at about 4.2 trillion, and it's got a valuation of about 42 times.
Right.
I would suggest that if Tesla has reached this 400 billion,
Hmm.
in order to get there, they're ramping robotaxi and they're probably ramping bots.
Hmm. And
So its valuation is going
maybe
to be
new things.
maybe new things. Its valuation is going to be far higher than just 21.
Right.
At least it could be something like what we're seeing with NVIDIA.
Right.
So the market cap could easily be, 17 trillion.
Right.
And if it's 50 instead of 40, then you're looking at about $20 trillion valuation, which is something that Elon's been talking about lately.
Well, and the other side of it is the 400 billion. If we're moving towards 400 billion, the next year it might be 450 billion.
Yeah.
And so you're just and again, the 400 billion might be way too small once the Optimi are out in the wild.
That's right. Now, one of the criticisms about this is share dilution.
Yeah.
As shareholders, we're going to be diluted.
Yeah.
This is terrible. Don't you know that share dilution is a terrible thing?
Well, most of us are criticized for being diluted.
Diluted, yes.
Yeah.
And I think we're diluted regarding dilution. So let me share with you my perspective on that. So over here, we've got the current market cap, 1.15 trillion.
Okay.
Here are the different tranches, okay, up to 8.5 trillion.
Hmm.
Here's the growth in the market cap at those different tranches.
Okay.
Okay. And then over here, I'm starting to show them the number of shares that vest for Elon
Hmm.
and what essentially the outstanding shares would be.
Okay.
So if you take the outstanding shares today and you add that special reserve of 208 million
Hmm.
plus the 60 extra million for employee stock options,
Hmm.
okay, we get to, a much higher shares outstanding. And as Elon vests these shares, then the shares outstanding grows.
Right.
So we could be up to 4 billion shares
Hmm.
by the time we hit this in 2035,
Right.
this 12th tranche. Okay.
Hmm.
That would imply 17% dilution. We're giving up 17% of the company in combination to Elon's comp plan,
Hmm.
plus the special reserve shares,
Hmm.
plus the employee stock options.
Hmm.
Now, depending on what happens with the Delaware court situation, it may not be quite as bad as this.
Hmm.
In the worst case, I think it's like 17% dilution.
Okay.
But look at this, though. If you say at this point that he's met this 12th tranche,
Hmm.
the company has met that milestone of 400 billion of EBITDA, and the market cap is at least 8.5 trillion.
Hmm.
So in the worst case, the price per share is gone up 6 times.
Right.
Okay. But as we just discussed, it's quite likely that the valuation of the company at 400 billion of EBITDA is not going to be 8.5 trillion. It's going to be something higher.
Right.
Okay. And I'm suggesting, given the growth prospects for robotaxi and the bot, it could easily be 20 trillion at that point.
Hmm.
Okay. Which would be a 14x
Right.
for investors. But the dilution's still the same.
Right.
So dilution is one thing. And if you have a company that is not growing, dilution's terrible.
Right. Right.
If you have a company that's growing and the dilution is creating the incentive for the employees and the CEO to grow that company aggressively, then it's not such a bad thing to be diluted 17% and get a 14x return.
So I've always believed that if you can put in a nickel and get out 20 cents, it's a good thing. If you
Yeah,
every time you put the nickel in, you get out 20 cents. And in this particular case, the tranches don't dilute you until you've already made your money.
that's right. That's a very important point, right? You don't suffer this dilution unless Elon has created the value.
Right.
It's not like you have to take, the hit up front and
Right.
hope he adds the value. Only gets this if he adds the value.
When I had my companies, the number one check I love to write was always to the commission salespeople.
Yeah. Because if you wrote that check, then they delivered on their results.
Right.
Yep. Same with this. And I think this is the most shareholder friendly executive compensation plan I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Again, very similar to the 2018 one
Sure.
in that regard, but
And
this
and
is at a bigger scale.
and other companies should probably be adopting this. Maybe they can't hit these kind of targets. They can't hope that their guys are going to hit these kind of targets, but they could have targets.
Yeah, as we saw earlier, there's not many CEOs I think that would go for this because they just don't have probably the capability to do that. But yes, the targets would have to be lower,
Right.
for sure.
And the compensation would be less, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is a really cool chart that was in the proxy. They show that if Elon met the first tranche and became a $2 trillion company, that's equivalent to 36 General Motors.
Okay.
The next tranche at 2.5 trillion, that's 29 Ferraris.
Which
Not
is
cars,
yeah.
not cars, but the company.
Yes, yes.
Okay. At 3 trillion, it's 12 Toyotas. And moving on up at this one, which looks like 4.5 trillion, that's 2 Amazons.
Right.
Now, again, these companies are not standing still. They will grow over time too.
Sure.
But just where they're at today, it's just by perspective here, 2.5 Alphabets, 2 Apples, 2 Nvidias here at this last one.
Where's the partridge in a pear tree?
That's tranche 13, I think, Randy.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But this, just think for a second, the amount of value that needs to be created for Elon to receive this award in its fullest.
2 NVIDIAs.
2 Nvidias.
Yeah.
It's also, if you define a unicorn company as a billion,
Mm-hmm.
it's 7,500
Unicorns.
unicorns. And I think anybody that has a startup to reach unicorn status would be thrilled.
Yeah.
Elon only has to create 7,500 of them.
Yes.
Effectively. Right. All right. Randy, I found something besides death and taxes that's a certainty for Elon.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It's called offset amount, and I'll tell you exactly what that is in a second. So Elon, he's facing for sure death, taxes, and offset.
I got it.
Yeah, really catchy, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I did a post today about this. This is how many ways do we get to $1 trillion?
Uh-huh.
There's 5. Let me walk you through this.
Okay.
If the stock price gets to 2,500 a share,
Yeah.
so let's call it you're crossing over that 8.5 trillion barrier.
Right.
The value of this compensation plan is over $1 trillion, and that's what the media has picked up on.
Sure.
$1 trillion compensation plan for Elon Musk.
Right.
Okay, great. If the stock gets to $3,000, then the taxable income realized, Elon, would be just over $1 trillion. So somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000, he actually has $1 trillion of taxable income.
Now, help us out there. The taxable income would be on the difference between what he pays and what the stock is worth on that day.
Yeah.
Okay.
What he pays is the
Basis.
$334.09 a share.
Okay. And that's the basis.
Yeah.
And then he has to pay tax immediately on the value on that day. So it immediately, even though it's not, he's not turned it into dollars, it's just a piece of paper. He has to pay he has to pay taxes on the value on that day.
Yeah. So there's a difference now between when he earns these shares.
Right.
Right. He meets the requirements. The market cap is at a certain level. He meets the operational requirements.
Right.
He's vested. He's earned those shares. Sorry, he's earned those shares.
Right.
He now gets to vote them.
Right.
He hasn't paid for them yet, though.
Right.
Okay. The first 6 of the 12 tranches vest in 7.5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and the next 6 vest over 10.
Okay.
So he really doesn't have to pay for anything, according to my understanding, till 7.5 years from now.
Right.
Okay. So this is looking at the point that he's kind of has to come to the table with some money.
Right.
Okay. So he has income then in that year, and that's just for argument's sake that
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
2035.
Yeah.
Okay. In this example, 1.1 trillion. Okay. Let's just follow this out. His federal tax bill would be $444 billion. Okay. The previous largest single amount paid in any given year, as far as I can tell, was by Elon Musk in 2021 of 11 billion.
Right.
This would be $440 billion.
This is the hoped for amount from all tariffs this year.
Yeah. So, case in point here, if Elon does well, the US taxpayer does
Really.
incredibly well.
Yes.
Tesla shareholders do very well.
Yes. Yes.
And the rest of humanity probably is doing better too because of the products that
Sure.
he's putting into the world.
Sure.
Right? So it's a win-win-win-win
Yep.
situation. Okay. Now, in addition to paying tax, if that's not enough, at least, by the way, he's not in California anymore. He doesn't have to pay state tax.
Right.
That would be another column in here. Texas currently doesn't have any state income tax.
Got it.
But there's this offset amount.
Okay.
This is what makes these restricted stock awards act like options.
Oh.
He doesn't get any value unless he creates value over and above the price of $334 a share.
Right.
He has to turn around and pay the company $141.5 billion.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so he's writing a check to the government for $444 billion. He's
Yeah.
writing a check to Tesla for $142 billion.
Yeah.
Total cost is $586 billion.
Right.
Okay, he gets to keep only $685 billion, which is like 54% of the total compensation amount of 1.2 trillion here.
Right.
Okay. By default, this offset amount is what's called net settled.
Okay.
He doesn't have to pay this money, he just gets less shares.
Oh, okay.
He can also opt, I believe, to net settle the federal tax. So effectively, he could, if he wanted to, without coming up with this money himself, this 586 billion.
Yeah.
He could just say, okay, I'll keep 54% of these shares.
Oh.
So instead of getting 424 million shares, he'll get, 200 and some million.
So does the government get the shares that are the equivalent?
The government just receives the tax money
From Tesla.
from Tesla.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could they opt for the shares under Trump?
Well, who knows? Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Trump's going to be around in 2035, unless we're headed to that dictatorship that some people worry about. So that's interesting. But Elon could, again, how do you come up with this kind of money?
Yeah. Take less shares. Yeah.
Borrow the money from somewhere to pay this $568 billion bill and
Right.
keep all his shares.
Right.
These are the nitty-gritty details that no one really focuses on.
Right.
Right? In the worst case, he's keeping half of his shares, and if the price is higher, then he's keeping 57% on a net basis.
Right.
But if he can come up with this kind of money, he can keep all his shares.
Yeah.
Right? Now, where do you go, Randy, to borrow $586 billion?
Goldman.
Yeah. Even Warren Buffett, I'm not sure, could really help you too much with this. He's got a balance sheet of $335 billion.
Right.
Like this would be, almost every bank in the world participating in this deal.
Yeah, I guess it'd have to be a consortium.
Yeah. So this is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, the third trillion is if the stock price is at $6,000 a share.
Right.
Okay. Which is our $20 trillion number, I believe.
Right.
Is that right?
Uh-huh.
But no, that'd be about 24 trillion, I think.
24 trillion. Yeah, that would just, Elon has said 24. Actually,
Yeah.
his high number that I've ever heard him say was 25 trillion just for Optimus. And he agreed with Cathie Wood on the 7 trillion for robotaxis. So that'd be 32. But,
Yeah.
but this is a nice number. We can look at this number.
Yes. In that scenario, the government is receiving $1 trillion in taxes.
A trillion in taxes. Yeah.
Okay. The previous high was 11 billion.
Yeah.
It could be
A trillion.
a trillion. Okay. Just let that sink in for a second.
Well, the government should loan him the money.
Right.
No, they should.
They should. They should. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The fourth trillion is if the stock's at 5,500 a share,
Okay.
then the total cost to Elon is $1 trillion.
Okay.
Okay, on a net basis, he'd keep 1.3 trillion, but if he was to keep all the shares, he's going to have to come up with $1 trillion in spare change.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know how you do your taxes and you get surprised that you're paying more taxes than you realize
Right.
than they thought you were going to?
Yes.
In Elon's case, it's $1 trillion price.
Right.
He looks at his accountants and says, "You guys didn't tell me I was going to have to pay this much."
All right. Did you check with your tax person who's probably never seen this case before as to whether he pays the taxes on the day that the tranche is achieved, as opposed to the day that he exercises the option?
You have to do it. I think he does it when it vests. So he may become eligible for these shares, and he gets to vote them at that point,
Right.
but doesn't have to pay it until they vest, which is 7.5 years from now.
Can't pay it until it vests.
Yeah.
But could then, after it vests, he can continue to hold out and pay it later, right?
Yeah, I don't know specifically about that because these are not options. Options, you have some time.
Right.
In these cases, I think that you might have to do it when it vests. I'm not entirely certain of that, though.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, this is a little bit different.
Got it.
Okay. And then the final trillion is if Elon is trying to keep, make $1 trillion in net from this deal,
Right.
the stock price would have to be $4,500 a share. He'd keep
Okay.
56% of the shares that were granted to him and walk away with $1 trillion.
Okay.
Okay. So lots of different ways to get to $1 trillion. And the most interesting one to me is the federal taxes of almost $1 trillion.
$1 trillion, yeah.
Yeah. Or at least, $500 million.
So this
half
is
a trillion.
So when Cathie Wood thinks that we'll be in surplus within 10 years or within 5 to 10 years, she's actually just counting on Elon to
That's right.
pay it down. Yeah.
It's just one man. It's all it takes is one man to pay his taxes. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe Elon will find a way to go to Mars by then and just, skip out on this tax bill. But no, I think the company actually would be the one that would be sending the money to.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really interesting. Now, in the proxy, the board takes great pains to talk about Elon's achievements. We won't necessarily go over this in detail, but it's really interesting reading. And the companies that he's founded. They've got some quotes from some other notable people. Jamie Dimon says the guy is our Einstein.
Yeah.
The CEO of Alphabet says his ability to will future technologies into existence is unparalleled. Jensen Huang of NVIDIA says Elon is singular in his understanding of engineering and construction and large systems and marshaling resources. It's just unbelievable. Okay.
Yep.
Now, this is kind of interesting. This is going back again to the 2018 pay package, which was granted in March 21 of 2018. The Tornetta complaint was filed in June of that year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then by June of 2022, 5 years later, he met all the milestones.
Right.
5 years. So if that's any indication of this one, that would be phenomenal.
Right. 2030.
And then yeah. And then, he's still waiting. So they say here, Musk realized compensation under the 2018 award, $0, excluding the potential value of the interim reward.
Right. Right.
But they gave him, I think, 100 million or so shares out of the 300 million.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, lots more details here. We can skip all this. Well, there are some interesting things, by the way, to mention. he's limited in his ability to pledge shares. He can pledge shares to pay the taxes.
Mm,
All right, so they're giving him an option to say, don't just net settle. You can pledge shares to pay
right.
taxes. Um, there's also a requirement for orderly dispositions,
Yeah.
right? So they've got some control in terms of how he sells the stock.
Hmm.
So think about when he bought Twitter,
Yeah. Yeah.
the way he did that. That may have come from that period where he was like tanking the stock with the way he did that.
Right.
So the board is requiring that, and I think that's something, by the way, does not need shareholder approval.
Oh, okay.
In these compensation plans, the board can dictate the terms.
Got it.
Okay. We've talked about this one. Um, and then proposal 7, Randy, this is the one for XAI.
Right.
Um, it just says, you know, be it resolved that the shareholders of Tesla request that the board of directors authorize an investment in XAI in
Hmm.
an amount and form deemed appropriate by the board
Hmm.
to capitalize on the synergies between the two companies and strengthen Tesla's position as a leader in AI, robotics, and energy. So if this passes, the board could say, well, we think the amount should be zero.
Right.
So don't get too excited, I guess, about
Or the board
this.
could, or the board could decide that they should buy it out.
They could try to, at least. Yeah, that may not be that may be rejected.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, this is interesting. This is a nice step. I would personally, I support this. Again, not necessarily advice for what others should do.
Sure.
I think XAI is an important company in relation to Tesla,
Hmm.
and I'd like to see Tesla have some ownership in it. But I'm not really hanging my hat necessarily on this proposal. This is maybe a first step.
Hmm. I've been watching, NVIDIA play this game. NVIDIA's got lots of investments in their partners, in their customers. I think this is a wise way to either trade some shares or spend some of the cash.
Yeah. And shout out to Stephen Hawke. He's a fellow Floridian
Mm,
whose proposal was accepted here
yeah.
among the slew that was sent in.
Okay. Okay.
So congratulations to him. He'll be at the shareholder meeting. Yeah. So that's kind of the whirlwind tour, Randy, of
Well,
the
that's the
proxy and the
that's
compensation plan.
that's a whirlwind, and yet not a whirlwind compared to anybody else. I mean, it's the most thorough I've seen by a lot. And so importantly, I think the only thing I saw that wasn't hammered home, and maybe everybody listening already understands this, the reason why they went through that long description of why Elon Musk is amazing was to make the case that Elon could consider, and even in one of the 10 meetings said, "Hey, I got other things I could be doing here."
That's right.
Let's face it, Brian Wong thinks that SpaceX will be more valuable than Tesla. As amazing as that might seem after
Yeah.
watching all the things that you just showed us. Warren Redlick thinks that the Boring Company will be the most valuable company of the lot. Other people think that Neuralink would be a real contender for being the most valuable company in the world. If you got basically a billion humans that are willing to spend $10,000 to get the thing implanted, that's a lot of money. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I think those are all extremely valuable. For my money, I think SpaceX is probably the leading candidate in terms of its potential.
mhm.
Ultimately, I think we're going to have more humanoid bots in the world than we do people.
Yep. Mhm.
So I'm not sure that Neuralink would quite outcompete that, but it'd be fine if it does. But yeah, the special committee did, I think, a really nice job of articulating the value of Elon to Tesla. I would encourage anybody to read that. I did a post about that, but it's also just in the proxy.
Right.
There was one funny thing where they talk about, they say, quote, "We also acknowledge that Musk's high public profile attracts significant scrutiny." right? And some have questioned whether his personal views or outside activities might be a distraction from his leadership of Tesla.
Yeah, yeah.
While media coverage often emphasizes these concerns, our direct experience with Musk does not support that characterization. During our many years of working alongside him in the boardroom, we have consistently observed his dedication to Tesla and its mission, demonstrated by his willingness to take bold strategic actions in pursuit of his long-term goals. He demands a high standard of conduct, not only from employees, but also from himself. And the final statement is gold. Although Musk can be direct and unscripted at times, we view this as emblematic of his authenticity.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think the other side of it is if he can build the company from a current value of 1.1 trillion to 8.5 trillion in 10 years or less, I don't care what world opinion or consumer opinion is. He apparently is able to sell the product or the services despite some people's thinking that he's not the greatest human since Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to think that the whole world would learn to love Elon, and that's an unrealistic
Right.
objective.
The whole world did not love Jesus.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah. Right. And the whole world didn't love anybody in
right,
history that had a huge impact.
right.
Uh, Mother Teresa might be close. I don't know. Um, but the reality is that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Right. And so therefore, do we need to change him so that does happen? No, that's not the primary objective. To be loved is not the primary objective. We would like him to be loved by all.
right.
And maybe in hindsight, 100 years from now, the world will realize how important this guy was.
Hmm.
But in the meantime, we want him to be direct and unscripted because it works for him.
Right.
Right. It really does. Now, has he made some errors, unforced errors? You can pass judgment on that. Sure. And many people have. But again, there's disagreement on those things.
Sure.
It's not universally accepted that his foray into politics was a bad idea.
Right. Right. Right.
Right. His heart was in the right place. The door seemed to be open for him to step into that and make some change. And
Well,
unfortunately, that door closed.
yeah, but as somebody who thinks that Trump is the best president we've had in 100 years, the fact that he stepped into politics put Trump in office, and that alone would be he can make lots of mistakes now in politics and not negate the tremendous impact that he had by, in fact, probably being the most important instrument in that election.
Yeah, there's a few people though that would disagree with you that don't feel that Trump is the best president in the last 100 years. So they
Not in
they
my
find
audience.
fault with Elon. Yeah, not on your channel.
Not in
Yeah,
my audience, no.
yeah,
Yeah, actually, you'll see the comments, I'm sure. There's a few.
yeah. And so I just want to be balanced there.
Yeah, balance. Yeah,
I want to
absolutely.
just nod my head to some of those folks that feel that way. Um, but yeah, I mean, to be loved is not the goal. There's really no CEO in the world that's loved by everybody.
Right.
I'm sure Jensen Huang at NVIDIA has his detractors.
Yeah.
They're just not as vocal as Musk's are.
Right. Right. And we now have other top leaders from these companies starting to kind of let us know where their politics are. Some pretty significant leader just spent 200 million, I think, for Gavin Newsom's, or maybe it was less than 200 million. It was a lot, 20 million maybe, for Gavin Newsom's redistricting plan in California. Somebody, Netflix or something, I don't know.
Well, arranging the deck chairs on the Titanic is one strategy.
I know. I have to hold the burden of living in this state. It's 90 degrees and 14% humidity. Okay, I'll handle it somehow.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So CERN, absolutely fabulous. Loved every minute of it. I hope everybody else loved it as well. Let us know in the comments whether you liked it. I'm sure you did. And we'll see what happens. We'll see whether this gets passed. I think it will. And then, of course, then it'll be up to Elon to execute.
Yeah, in my view, there's really no reason for this not to get passed. All the onus is on Elon. If he doesn't execute, there's no compensation.
Right?
That's the ideal in an executive compensation plan. And there's no other executive on the planet that I'm aware of that has a plan, anything like this.
No, no, no. I
Right.
for my own manufacturing business, I would have not been willing to take anything that was incentive based. I needed a paycheck
Yeah.
to raise my family. So no, it's not on everybody's potential list of ways to be paid.
I think the people that can relate to this the most are those that have their own small business,
Yeah.
where it is on their shoulders and no one else to
Right.
make a living for themselves.
Yeah.
It's pay for performance.
Mhm.
And also, in some cases, farmers, I think, would understand this,
Oh yeah, 100%.
right?
Yep. Yep. 100%. Yeah. So even though I paid myself a paycheck, I did write a book called When Friday Isn't Payday. And it had a very significant meaning to every entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
definitely there was a reason for the title. Okay, then, CERN, thanks again for 3 shows this week. I mean, holy mackerel! Pretty soon it'll be the Randy and CERN show. We'll take it on the road. Who knows what might happen?
Let's think about that.
Okay. To all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.
Thanks, Randy.